everybody. My topic is going to be on California's teachers' abilities to receive tenure. And let me start you off with a little background information on tenure law in California. According to the Institute of Governmental Studies at UC Berkeley, California was the first state in the country to establish teacher tenure law in 1921. Current state law mandates that teachers gain tenure in California after completing a 2-year probationary period. Once tenured, teachers gain a degree of security in their position and can be dismissed only for just cause. Low student achievement is not included as a condition for dismissal. Which brings me to my main claim. The ability for public school teachers to receive tenure negatively affects California's public education system. My first supporting claim is that tenure negatively affects the quality of education students receive. First, tenure is received far too easily among newly hired teachers. According to an article published in the LA Times on December 20th, 2009, a recent study confirmed that more than 98% of probationary teachers receive tenure after 2 years in the classroom. To me, that's like NFL teams drafting 98% of eligible players in this year's NFL draft, and after 2 seasons in the NFL, signing all of them to long-term contracts and deeming them franchise players. Second, tenure eliminates teachers staying motivated to improve their performance in the classroom. A study conducted by Harvard researchers Elton Mayo and Fritz Roethlisberger was done to conclude that environmental changes increase performance and productivity in employees. After 8 years studying the employees, their data indicated that the only significant change to productivity and performance was seen when employees knew they were being watched and evaluated. Anyone being watched the first 2 years is going to put forth their best effort, but not everyone has that much integrity. To maintain that effort after securing a job for the rest of your career, following 2 years evaluation is kind of a long stretch, or far-fetched. Furthermore, administrators have no way to evaluate performance. Joanne Jacobs, author of the book Our Schools, claims administrators are not required to consider testing data, student work, or grades when evaluating teachers. They really have no way to evaluate teachers or any merit system. So, I mean, how are they supposed to get rid of bad teachers if they can't even consider GPA or student test scores? To quote New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, he said that's like saying to hospitals, you can evaluate a heart surgeon or any criteria you want, just not patient survival rates. The Center on Education Policy claims combined with high school grades, SAT scores are the best predictor of how kids will do in their first year in college. And their recent study, carefully controlled for socioeconomic status, shows that unionized private schools outperform public school students on the SAT, averaging 110 points higher in their total scores. My second supporting claim is that tenure negatively affects administrators' ability to get rid of bad teachers. First off, tenure makes it virtually impossible to be fired. This past year, the LA Times reviewed every case on record in the last 15 years in which a tenured employee was fired by a California school district and formally contested the decision before a review commission. The number totaled to 159 teachers in 15 years. Considering that the state of California for the fiscal year of 08-09 reported that 293,694 full-time teachers were employed in California, if you divide 159 by that many amount of teachers, it's far less than 1%. It's actually about 0.005%. Even more than half the teachers, according to a survey released by the education sector, believe it's way too difficult to weed out ineffective teachers, and 70% said receiving tenure was just a formality that has little to do with their teacher quality. Second, another obstacle when firing a tenured teacher is building a case for dismissal. It's so time-consuming and costly that it discourages schools from doing so. The Claremont Institute estimated that the typical time period needs to fire a tenured employee at 5 years, and claims successfully firing a teacher who can't teach is rare. 80% of dismissals upheld. Classroom performance was not even a factor. This tells me administrators ignore poor-performing tenured teachers because classroom performance is rarely enough of a reason to fire a teacher. The following is an article from the California Department of Education. A San Bernardino case prompted a school principal to spend 3 years, from 93 to 96, documenting the conduct of a teacher who, according to a Riverside Press Enterprise report, was a textbook case of a lousy teacher. Her answers to questions about math, spelling, and grammar were wrong. She left students unattended and enforced discipline with course directives like shut up and sit your asses down. It cost the San Bernardino City Unified School District $100,000 in legal fees to convince the 20-year veteran teacher into resigning. She walked away with a settlement of $25,000. So she wasn't even fired. I mean, she had pretty much they convinced her to resign because it would have proceeded far too much, and the cost of legal fees would have been even higher. In conclusion, the ability for teachers to receive tenure affects all California residents and taxpayers, and is an issue that should not be overlooked.
Okay, the proposition's clearly stated. There's no preview of what the supporting points are going to be, but you did signpost them pretty well in the body of the speech. I thought you had a lot of good data that you used in trying to support your inferences. There are some presuppositions that are being made that need to be developed a little bit more. For instance, the importance of evaluating on student performance needs to be expanded a bit. It's presupposed that that's a valid standard, and in fact, you got a couple of quotes about why not doing it is problematic, but you don't have any quotes about why doing it would make a difference in the effectiveness of the teachers. I thought that you had some good examples to illustrate the points, and then you had a lot of statistics to follow up on those points, and that's a good way to substantiate your generalizations. It was generally easy to follow, so the structure is good. All right, like I said, keeping it short tonight.